Hey everybody, it's Kathy from Crowder's Mountain in North Carolina. I hope y'all are doing well and you're ready to have some fun making this barn quilt all over again. If you watched that other video, you saw what happened to the first one that I made. And I'm just determined to make another one now because it was so pretty before I listened to the wrong person tell me what to put on it. And I want to show it to you. I listened to a person tell me to put spar urethane on it, and that was the wrong thing to do. It turned it so yellow and blotchy. I don't know if you could see this or not. See if I can hold it up a little bit. You see how yellow and blotchy looking it is? And it was just so pretty, but you know what? My mistake, my lesson. I know to do my own homework from now on, and I will. And I know what to put on them now. So anyway, what I'm going to try to do is to do the barn quilt all over again. This is called a Carpenter wheel, and I keep calling it a Carpenter star, and I know it's a wheel. But anyway, and I say paper tape all the time, and I mean painter's tape. So here is the color that I had on there to start with, and that is called Cotton Gin, and it's sort of an off-white. Wanted sort of an antique white looking color on it. That was before it turned all yellow. So I want to show you how to make this again, but this time I'll get to a part and then I'll stop and let you kind of catch up with me, or just stop, take a break, and come back. I hope it's a tutorial that'll help you. So I get kind of detailed in it, and I know it lasts a little bit longer than most of them do, but I want you to have a video that you can look at and know how to make it. So this is 3/4 inch plywood, and again, I go to Lowe's and have them cut a 4x8, and I get 8 boards like this out of that 4x8. You can have them cut it any way you want to, but that's how I do. When I'm going to get 8 pieces of wood, I can make 8 2x2s out of it. So I am going to get the rest of this painted in this Kills. I put 1 coat of Kills on it, even though it's pre-primed. So let me get started on that. And I try to do a little bit of it ahead of time. You see, I've got it about halfway done. And when you get the sides of it, just make sure you get the sides. But you also, when you're painting it, when you get the sides, make sure you go back and feather that back down. If you don't, you're going to have some ridges there. And so you don't want that. So let me see what I can do, get it done, and then I'll come right back as soon as I'm finished. Okay, so I've got my 1 coat of Kills on there, and now I'm going to dry it with the dryer. This is that little heat gun you've probably seen me use before. It's got paint all over it, but the heating element still works, so we're going to keep using it. But let me show you I ordered another one, and it's just called a heat gun, and the highest temperature that it will go is 350. So I really like using it. It's handy to use. It's lightweight. It will not blister your paint unless you've got it right down on the paint. Or a hairdryer will work, but you have to keep it away from the paint, and it's a lot hotter. So this tool is just so handy and light to use. So when you're drying, it will go from that shiny color down to a matte finish, and then you'll know that you've got it dry. But this is just a handy little tool, and I got it on Amazon. I actually saw someone else using it on an acrylic pour, and that's how I found it. So we just need to all share our ideas together because it's all about having fun, right? So let me get this dry and I'll be right back. Okay, now we've got our first coat of quills on here and we're ready to start drawing the pattern. Now this is going to be fun, believe me. Once I saw how that pattern, the whole pattern looked, um, I was looking at it, the big picture, and you really need to break it down and just look at it block by block, row by row. And once you do that, you realize how many blocks are in that pattern, how many blocks you need to draw on your quilt, on your board, and just think about it, what it looks like, and you can get it down on there. Now this particular Carpenter wheel star, this is the one I made before, but I got a little bit different take on that border. You see, instead of one big block of color all the way around it, I thought it might be kind of neat to do 3 stripes. I'm not sure how that's going to turn out, but we'll see when we get the pattern on here. Now see, here's one without the border. So I'm kind of thinking I like that one too. I think the Carpenter wheel would be bigger. This one's going to be smaller, so I might end up making that one too. But for now, I think I'll stick with the smaller Carpenter wheel with the star in the center and then figure out that border later. But let's look at our pattern. You see we have blocks, 12 blocks up, 12 blocks across, and you can see that. Can you see the blocks there? I just took my graph paper and I just blocked it off. So I have, see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Got 12 blocks. So I know I have to put 2-inch blocks horizontally and diagonally on my block, on my quilt, on my block of wood. So we're going to start measuring and just block them off. And what we're going to do is just going to take one row at a time. And once you take that one row at a time, you'll be surprised at how easy it is to make this barn quilt. I don't quilt, I've never quilted, but this is so much easier, I would think, than quilting with a piece of cloth. So let's make our barn quilt. Okay, so here's our ruler, yardstick. One of these days I'm going to find a clear yardstick. I think that'd be a lot easier to work with. But anyway, on the other barn quilt, I had a flat lead, and I really loved using it because it was flat. It would go up against the yardstick, but it was really hard to erase. You know, sometimes you have to erase your lines, and it was really hard to erase. So I got this little mechanical pencil, and I really like it, only it keeps breaking on me all the time. So I haven't found the right exact marking tool yet, but I think this little mechanical pencil works better. So what we're going to do now we're going to place our yardstick on our board and make sure it's 24 inches wide. That's the critical part. You see that? It's 23 3/4. So it's okay. I'm not going to worry about it, but I have to adjust for that. So I have to find out. All right. So I got 1/8 over here, and I got 1/8 here. So as long as I'm even in there, I can start marking my spots. So what I'm going to do is make sure I'm right on the edge. So we have to go every 2 inches. So I'm saying 2. See, I've got it evened up over here, so it's going to work out right. 12, can y'all count with me? 14, 16, 18, 20, 22. And see, that is the same width as that. And that's going to be our border, so it's going to be okay. Now let me get this out of the way. Find my little piece of plastic. This is what I do with my brushes. I stick them in a little baggie, so if I need them again before I'm finished, they're still good and moist and wet. All right, so now let's get the top of it. We got to make sure we're right on the same place we were. If we don't, our lines will be crooked. Okay. 2, 4, 6, 8. I talk to myself. Okay, now we've got our marks horizontally. Now we have to come back to the vertical side of our board and do the exact same thing, making sure we've got it even, and then we're just going to mark every 2 inches. As long as we've got it lined up, we're going to be fine. So we've got that side done. Now we've got to come back over on the other side and do the same exact thing. And now we've got 2-inch marks all the way around the outside of this block. So now what we have to do is draw our lines. We're just going to connect those little marks together. Make sure you're right on the little mark. You don't have to worry about the ruler where it's at or nothing like that as far as measurements go. But just make sure you're right on the mark on both sides and get that line as straight as you can make it. Because we want perfect blocks all the way around it. As close as we can get it. We can always adjust if something gets off kilter, but we don't want to. That's really kind of hard to do and takes the fun out of it. So the best thing to do is get it right to start with. And you can do it. You can do it. So I'm going to go all the way around and marking it just like this. See, once you get those marks measured up and get it lined up, it's just a matter of marking it all the way up to the top. Oh, look at that. I'm always doing that. My big finger's sticking out. Okay, so I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to come, I'll go ahead and do one of them. I'm going to get right on those lines. Just take your time. And then I'm going to come down through here like that. So when I get finished, we can start drawing our pattern. Okay, we got our blocks on. Now we won't need this big yardstick anymore. We're going to use our rulers, our small rulers. They're around here someplace. Here it is. Okay. Now I've got a little 6-inch ruler, and you could use a 12-inch, but I like using these clear ones. And like I said a while ago, I wished I had a clear yardstick. I'll find one of these days. But let's start drawing our pattern on here. Now, I made that first one so complicated. But now, when you dig into the details, it gets a lot easier. So, what I'm going to do is, see, I've got 1, 2, 3. So, on row 3, 1, 2, 3, I'm going to count over till I get right here. So, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, see, I'm 3 up, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and over 5. And now we're going to start drawing our pattern. So just take it. What I'm saying is take it one block at a time. Don't try to draw the whole thing. Now, once you get, you get real proficient with it, you could probably draw, there's some lines like that would go all the way across like that, and you could just draw it all the way across. But if you stay from corner to corner, you're going to line up just fine, taking it one at a time. So this one, you can see it goes from the left corner, bottom of the left corner, to the top of the right corner. And that's all we're going to do. We're going to draw that way. See? Then this one is the top of the left to the bottom of the right. Get right in that corner. See? Now that's the same way. Bottom to top, left to right, right to left. You see right here where I got off when I was marking. That's okay. No hysterical catastrophe right here. We'll fix it. Okay, so now you got the first row drawn. See how simple that was? Let's do the next one. And then I'll go on and I'll turn it off again and then come back when I start working on the star. Actually, no, we'll have the star. We're just going to go row by row, and you'll have that star drawn by the time you get finished. Watch and see. You're going to amaze yourself, honestly. So let's do this row. So we have 1, 2, 3. We're on row 4. 1, 2, 3. And then this one goes from bottom left to the top right. And then the next one goes from the bottom left to the top right. So over 1, 2, 3, 4. bottom left, top right, bottom left, top right, back. Alright, then we go over another one. One, two, and then, okay, and then it's top left to bottom right, and then back again, bottom left to top right. So you're going left to right, but top, down, down, up. So you can see it. You can see the pattern and just draw it exactly the way they've got it, which I just did it backward, didn't I? I did that backward. Wait a minute. No, I did it right. See, and I always go back and check behind myself too. So, all right, so we got down, up, and now we're going to go from left top down to the right bottom again. That's one reason I used that hard lead, but this just easier. I keep breaking my lead. All right, then we've got from the top left, bottom right again. Mercy, y'all would think I'm crazy. I keep getting my finger stuck in it. All right. So now, see, here's the bottom of the star. Let's do this one and I'll finish, and I'll cut it off. So we're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're on row 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we're over 1, 2, 3 right here. So we're going from bottom left, top right twice. Mercy. Man, this thing ain't doing right today. All right, and then I've got a blank. So I'm going to skip that one. And then I'm going here. And I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going from the bottom left. But this time, I'm going to try to line it up with that one. So I'll make sure my lines are right. All right, then we're going to turn it over. And this one is from the top of the left to the bottom right. And once again, see, I'm lining it up with that. So I can make sure all my lines line up. All right. See what we did? We just drew this. So this, we're going to skip this one. And we've got to make this one from the top left to the bottom right. See it right here? Ah, it's lead. And then we got one more on that row. Left to right. All right. And then these two are going to be our border. Okay, I'm going to turn it off till I get the rest of it drawn. And that's how you do it. Just take one row and one block at a time. And you're going to have your barn quilt in a little bit. All right. Okay, we're finished. Let me, before we start taping up, let me kind of show you my setup in case you hadn't seen it. I have just puppy pads down here to keep my countertop from getting so messed up. But I just took 2 brick and rolled them up and cut a puppy pad in 2. And it's slick and it gives me a good surface to work on when I'm painting. I don't have to worry about the paint dripping onto the puppy pad and getting stuck. But also when I'm drawing my pattern or painting or taping, See how it just twirls around? Now, I guess you could put it on a Lazy Susan or something like that if you had one big and solid enough, but I don't, so my bricks work out good. So you might want to try that. But you don't want I put these puppy pads because I don't want to scratch up this surface, because you saw what happened the first time I did it. I had to start all over again. So I had to use my back, and if I had scratched it up with those bricks, I would have been in trouble. Well, I guess I could have painted over the messed up part with a whole bunch of layers of kills, or at least 2. But now we're ready to start taping up. Now, I'm not going to worry about my border right now. We'll worry about that later. So we want to try to do as many. We'll start with the blue. And I put, like I said, I put 3 coats on every one of them. So I'm going to start with the blue down here so you can see that block. It runs from here to here. Once you start seeing your blocks, then all of a sudden it just kind of, it's like one of those paintings that has something in it and you have to keep looking at it to see it. Y'all probably know what I'm talking about. I don't know what the name of that is, but they're fun to look at. And this is kind of the way this is. Once you draw it block by block, and all of a sudden you stand back and look at it, you can start seeing where your blocks need to be taped off. So this is blue, see? And then this one's going to be blue. And then that one's going to be blue. So I'm going to tape as much as I can. But now, here's what I figured out too. You can do a lot of fancy cutting, and sometimes you have to with that tape. But I had rather go along and tape what I can without doing all that cutting. And just using little strips of painter's tape. Now, my favorite is the frog tape. Everybody knows my favorite's that frog tape. But this is 1.5 inches wide. And there's going to be a lot of waste if I use it on here. I may have to, because I don't have much of this left. But this is Scotch tape, and it's done a good job. I've made 2 quilts out of with it already, and it's done good. Scissors. Here they are. You could tear this if you want to, but I just soon cut it sometime. And what I'm doing, I'm getting that tape laid right down on that line. And if your paint's dark enough, you don't have to erase. I'm going to try not to erase my lines until I get to the white. You know, when I get to these white blocks, I'll have to erase that in there real good. So let me get this one taped up. You see what I'm doing? I'm just putting that paper tape down as close to that line, and then I'm going to go back over each section like that, making sure I've got that pressed down good. And making sure your surface is clean. When I'm erasing, I use this little brush to make sure I've got everything off my canvas, because it'll show when in the paint. Then you got to dig it out with some tweezers if you don't. So you see what I'm doing. I'm going to go around and tape up all the blue, and then we'll come back and start painting. That's going to be fun. That is just the most fun part. I don't know. I like drawing them too, so I don't know. I think the whole part of it's fun. It's just different parts. Different fun. I'll be back. While I am taping this up, I did want to mention one thing. I have seen people, like, this is blue, and they would write what color it's supposed to be in the block. And there's really times when that pattern gets real complicated. I've had to do it before. on a very, very complicated quilt, and I'd love to show it to you. But it's my brother's Christmas, one of my brother's Christmas presents, and I'm afraid he'll see it. And he'll figure it out. The minute he sees it, he'll know that that's the one I made him. Because I've told him that's what they're getting for Christmas. But his is going to be a surprise. But anyway, I'm not doing that because I'm trying to get all the blue at one time. I'll finish the blue and then I'll come back in with the red. But I don't know if you can see this or not. I'll try to zoom in when I'm editing the video. But you see this one's blue and this one's blue. Well, that one's blue as well. But see right here it is. And I had to put the paper tape across it. So instead of doing some fancy cutting right there, I'd just rather go ahead and paint that, miss that one, and come back around the second round of blue and get the ones that I couldn't get without doing all that fancy cutting. You see what I'm saying? Or do you hear what I'm saying? No, I say, do you see? I say, do you see what I'm saying? I know that sounds crazy. Okay. I hope y'all figured out what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get you started. You can cut the video off. Do your part. And when you're ready to come back to me, we're ready to do another section. I'm trying to make this a tutorial. Do you get it? I hope so. And I promise I'm trying not to get... I get excited and I get to working and I forget y'all up there. So y'all have to yell at me. Make yourself at home. I'll be right back. Okay, we're back. You see what happened? I did run out of that Scotch tape. I started using the frog tape. I just couldn't deal with that waste, so I started cutting it in half, and it's working just fine. So that way the tape's going to last longer, and hopefully the next time I go to the store, I can find some 1-inch, or I hardly go to the store anymore because of this COVID. So probably just get it off of Amazon. Alright, so we're going to do our blue first, and we are going to use, it's Very Navy. That's the name of it, Very Navy. And so that's the color of blue that we're going to use. The other one was Deep Breath Blue, and it was a very dark blue as well. So look at me, I ain't even started using it yet. Okay. I'd put gloves on, but I can't put down tape with gloves on. So I just have to keep wiping my hand. Alright. So you could use, for this little one here, you know, I think instead of the 1-inch brushes, I think I'm just going to use these smaller ones. I think that's a 1/2 inch maybe, and that's a 1/4 inch. I'm not really sure. But just the small ones, because these blocks are sort of small on the 2x2. Okay, so I'll start using this one. Now again, we're probably going to put 3 coats on it. And this is not all the blue. There's going to be blue in the middle, and then when I was going through here, taping them off, there was a couple of them that I couldn't get to. With my method of taping. So we're gonna paint over those lines too, because this is such a dark color. I think we'll be fine. And we're just gonna make sure that we get our paint near the... And I went ahead and I went back around again. I was pressing down while I put the tape on, but then I went back around again, pressing it down. So with these small blocks this way, it doesn't take long to paint. And I'm telling you, it does not take much paint either. If you're making a lot of them, and there's some basic colors that you like, that you find yourself using a lot, it'd probably be cheaper to buy a gallon or a quart. But these little cans, like these little sample bottles, $3.98. I think that's what it is. Don't quote me on that. But you know, Lowe's and Home Depot gives veterans discounts. So my Marine veteran gets a discount for me when we go. Let's see. All right, now we got the first coat of blue. And with our little heat wand, we're gonna blow it dry and put 2 more coats on. But I don't know if you can see this or not. Maybe I can zoom in when I'm editing. But you see how shiny that is? You'll know when it's dry because it goes from a shine to a matte finish. I don't know if you can see this or not. But I'm just holding it a couple inches away. Okay, so we've got that first coat on there and dried. Now, the only thing I'm doing now, I'm going to put a second coat on, dry it, put a third coat on and dry it. But what I wanted to tell you was when you're drying it, give it a second to cool down, just touch it. And if it's cool, see that one's a little bit warm because that's the last one I did. So just let it cool down just a little bit before you put your second coat on. And in case I forget to tell you later, let it cool down before you pull the tape off too. Because the paint still, if it's hot, when you pull that tape off, it could pull some of your paint. So let's just let it all cool down. Put your second coats on and cool it down before you pull the paint off. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and put 2 more coats on here. And we'll be right back. When I'm peeling off paint, and you know, I'm just telling you how I do it. Other people have different techniques, and I try to learn from them as well. So this is just how I do it. So there's no right or wrong way, I don't guess, just what works for you. But when I'm peeling the tape off, I pull away. Instead of pulling toward it, I pull away from it. And it seemed like that helps. I don't know that that makes a difference, but it seems like it does for me. If I pull away, you see that, I can fix that up. There's no... One thing about these barn quilts, even if you paint the wrong block, you can paint over it. It's okay. This is fun. It's not stressful. How pretty. Look at that. See, I got to get this one still and that one over here. 400 more to go. No, I'm teasing. Okay, let me get the blue, rest of the blue finished, and we'll come back. Now, I think I'm going to leave the middle. Yeah, I believe I'll leave the middle. I'll get the red and blue done on the outside of the star, and then I'll come back, because this is the star right here. I believe I can... No, I'll have to do each one of them individually too, just like I've been doing these. But anyway, I think by the time I get here, which is right here, I don't know that I can get that one at the same time. But we'll see. I'll try to do as much blue as I can before I come back. And if you're working on one, then you can kind of get caught up and then play the next section. Talk to you later. Got the last coats on this. I'm going to pull it off, and then we're going to start taping up the red. Let that cool enough. Going to start taping up the red, and again, I'm going to leave the middle and do it last. Because really, when I put down the tape, I'm covering up parts of it. So I had rather, like I said earlier, just put the tape on without having to cut it up in little pieces to do some fancy cut work. I'd rather not do that. Okay. It's looking good, y'all. Let me go ahead and pull this off for you, so you can see how pretty that's looking. See, we're starting to get a star. It just kind of amazes me when you start pulling it off after you put your colors on there, all your coats. Start pulling those last pieces off. It's just, I just think it's amazing. It's fun to watch. Fun to do. I watch other videos when I can find them online too. People doing barn quilts. Now this, when you're putting it up against another color, you got to make sure you get it right on that edge. If you don't, you'll have a white line through it if you don't match it up just perfect. But you know what? That's not a disaster, because you can fix that too. I've done it plenty of times. Because you think you've got it on that line when you're putting it down, but then you cross over into that white a little bit with that paper tape, and it's going to leave that white. So, it's alright if you do it. And I usually, always, when I'm finishing one, I'll take just a little tiny detail brush, and I'll go around and fix my little tiny mistakes, or little pieces like that, you know, a little bit of bleed through. That's just the way it is. Don't fret over it. You can fix it. Okay. Keep going. I'm going to put the paper tape now and do the red, and I'll be back. Hey, about forgot y'all were up there again. I got all the blue done, and I taped up all the red from the outside, and now I'm just starting to paint. I'll put 3 coats on there again, and dry in between each one, and it's going to start taking shape. I hope y'all having fun with me. I'll be right back. Okay, we got our red on there. I'm going to start peeling it off. All right, Willa? It's okay, baby. You want me to shut the door? Here comes comes the test if I did it right. Woohoo! That's the first line. No white showing. Look at that. Got that one too. Here comes another one. Okay, look at my lines. Got them right on there. There's a little boo-boo, but we can fix it. I'm going to keep pulling off the tape. I'll tape up the other red. And I'll be back in a little bit. Here you go, y'all. Look here. Ready to pull off that tape. The last part of the red. Looky, looky, looky. We're getting there. We see our square in the middle. This is going to be the star right here. And I'm going to tape it up just like I did this. There'll be a red, blue. And then this, and these diamonds will be white. So our star pattern is right in there. You can see it. Don't give up. You want to do this, you can do it. I can, you can. Alright, I'm going to tape up some more and put my 3 coats, and I'll be back in a minute. Okay, look where we're at. I got 3 of the, well, 4 counting this one. That's the middle star. And I have to do the 4 blue, but I wanted to peel this off and just let you know, when you're working on it, one trick that I found is like this little spot right here. Now you can wait till you get the whole entire thing done and then go back and fix it, but you know, while I had my red paint, before I put that brush in a little baggie, I just thought, well, I'll just fix this little part right here, and so now it's good and I don't have to worry about it. This is always the trickiest part, right in the middle where all 8 points go together. I got that okay now, and so the blue will come in and cover up that little bit of bleeding in there. So I'm gonna start. We're starting to get us a barn quilt. Do you see that? You can see it. I hope you're doing this with me. If you are, you about to be proud of yourself right now. All right. I'm gonna start taping up the blue in the middle. And then we'll be through with our color. And well, no, we got the borders, don't we? We got to do our borders. I'm still trying to determine what I want to do on the border. But we'll get it. I'll be back. I hadn't forgot. I'm still here. Still working. I wanted to show you I'm almost finished. I got that one blue part of the star, and so far I'm doing a better job than I did the last time. Now I'm still, as I see little spots, you know, where I missed or whether where it bled through. I'm cleaning that up as I go, so that's what these are. But I'm getting ready to tape this part up, and I'll be back in just a few minutes. Okay, I'm ready to pull that off. You see all my little mistakes and stuff? I can be covered up, so had no problem. And I've, like I said, I've been kind of fixing my places that I missed. And I may have to fix some here. I'm not sure. Let's see what it looks like. Because this is going to be the middle of the star. So this is kind of reveal time, isn't it? Trouble with that blue paint for some reason. I'm not sure, it may be getting old. Here it comes. Ta-da! Look at that! Ooh, wait, look at that! I got all my points to match. Da-da-da-da. I can fix that. Okay. I'm ready to start taping up the white now. So I'm just going to go along through there. I'm going to erase this out. I'll take my handy dandy eraser wherever it is. Here it is. That's that white pearl eraser that I've been using. And all I'm going to do is go through here now. I'm going to put white on here. So I want to make sure that I get as much of this pencil mark off as I can. Y'all seen me use this little brush. It just comes in handy. Now I'll put 3 coats of the white on there as well, but you don't want to have to deal with the pencil marks bleeding through. Okay, all right, there's one, and I'll go around and do the rest of them. But I've been trying to debate. The other barn quilt was sort of an off-white. I know you can't hardly tell it because the old yellow stuff it was on it, but so it was sort of an off-white, and so I'm not sure if I should use a bright white, or this one is called Practical Tan, and this one is called Cotton Knit. Set that down on. Probably shouldn't set that down on my quilt. You see the two? One's sort of an off-white, the other one's a tan color. I'm just not sure if I should use the bright white on here or not. I don't know. By the time I get these boxes taped up, surely I'll have my mind made up. Alright, I'll come back to you when I get that taped up and start painting, and you can see what color I picked. I wish y'all could tell me what color you think would look good. Alright, I'm back. May have to stop for a while and come back tomorrow. My painter's tape is getting where it don't want to stick. I don't know if it's just the dampness in the air. I've got my windows open down here, so I may have to either close them or wait till tomorrow and come back and finish. But I wanted to tell you this. I think I'm going with this Practical Tan is the name of it. And the reason I finally decided on that is the piece of quilt that I took the picture of. It was a real quilt. I took the picture of it. It was an old quilt. And, you know, the person who made it didn't have that bright white shiny cloth. And so the actual piece of cloth looked more like muslin. Is that how you say it? So it was kind of an off-white, and so I'm gonna go with that. That's lighter than the other one, but I just think that cotton knit would be. I think once I hung it up, it would almost look like it was just had had aged instead of a color. I don't know if I'm making sense or not. But the bottom line is the quilt that I took the picture of to make my first barn quilt, the color was more like this. So that's what we're going to try. Hope it turns out right. We'll see in just a little while. I'll be back when I get ready to pull that tape off. Hey, sorry, phone rang. Couldn't get back to the camera and I just kept working. But you see that I got the paint down, and that's that practical tan. I like it. I like how it's looking. It looks like that piece of cloth that was actually on that quilt that I took the picture of. So maybe it's a little bit darker, but I like that tan with the red and white. I mean the blue and red. So now I've taped off. This is where our border's going to be. We still have to decide what kind of border we're going to do. But I've taped that off, and then I'm just starting to put down the paper tape now so that I can start painting this the same color. So all this will be that practical tan when we get done. So as soon as I get that all taped up and painted, I'll come back, and it's really starting to take shape, isn't it? Let me move this out of your way. See? Isn't that pretty? Looking good. I hope y'all liking it. I'll be back. I don't know about you guys, but I'm not so sure about this border. You see, my squares that I had drawn in the corner, I didn't get those drawn on there. And I almost feel like that red stripe is too close to the star. I don't know I just think it may just be too busy. There's just something about it I don't like. I think it'd be fine, but I wanted my stripes to go around like in a square all the way around the star. And let me clarify that there's a star in the middle, but that's a carpenter's wheel on the outside. I keep calling it a carpenter star, which it is, but that carpenter wheel is on the outside. And that's what I wanted my border to go around, like in a square pattern. So I just think those colors are just going to be too much. So I think that I'm going to get rid of that red line and just leave a blue one. Okay, so I got rid of that red line, and I think that looks so much better. It's not taken away from the carpenter wheel anymore. I want the carpenter wheel to be the focal point of the barn quilt and not that busy border. So I am going to paint the whole thing with that practical tan and just have that border squared all the way on the outside of the barn quilt. Now you see what I'm doing here? I actually used my painter's tape as my measuring tool. So I put 3 strips down there. And now I'm going to take one of them off and I'll paint that part with the practical tan. And I'll do the same for the other 2 sides. You see that's going to cover up that blue. Okay, we're getting there. I wanted to show you guys what I'm doing. So this is what I was trying to explain that I had in my mind. So I only want one blue stripe around, but I put the tan on the outside. So it brought it in a little bit farther. And it kind of give the effect of this whole 1 inch being the border. Okay, I got it all painted except for this blue stripe around here. I think with this tape I'm going to have some issues with bleed through, but I did find some 1 inch frog tape at Hobby Lobby this morning, so I'm going to open it up when I draw this blue line around the edges. I'm going to open up that new pack of frog tape. Nothing else works like frog tape to me, I'm telling you. I just wished it wasn't so expensive. But you get what you pay for sometime, and I'm telling you it's good. But here I go. I'm going to pull it off. Okay, look here. We're on a roll now. I got it all taped up. I'm going to go ahead and go over that a little bit. But as soon as I get this done, we are finished. I think I'm just going to love this. And I'm glad we decided not to use that red, white, blue, beige color on the border. It would have just been too much, been too busy. So let me get this finished. I'm going to put the blue on there, and then I'll get the 3 coats of the blue, and then I'll come back and let y'all watch me pull the tape off, because That last tape is the fun part, because you know you finished. All right, I'm coming back again, y'all. Okay, I think we got it dry. Start over here on this side because it's the coolest side. And we're going to start pulling off some tape. I'm interested to know this cheap stuff. It was bleeding through really bad. And you could see this. You could see where it bled through. And it even bled through when I was doing these first stripes. And so, I don't know if I said this or not, but I found this frog tape at Hobby Lobby this morning. And I just bit the bullet and bought some more. Because it's just so much better. So, and that's what's on here. So let's see what happens. This is the fun part. If I can find my ends. You get them taped up. You can't find them. Look how pretty that is. What did I tell you? Let's see what this one looks like. Because they'll tape together. Look at that. That came from this is the one I done first. And that little bit right there came from that other tape. See this one? Look at that. Oh, I love you, frog tape. Frog tape is my friend. I'm sorry, but when you work hard on a barn quilt or anything that you're doing, the worst thing that can happen is bleed through. Look at how beautiful. Look at that. Did I tell y'all I like frog tape? See what this one looks like. Look. I'm so glad I got that. I went in there after paint for and canvases for the acrylic pour and found this frog tape. Now see, that's my fault. I got too far up there. Ooh, grabbed it. That's my fault. That's not the tape's fault. So I'll go back in here and fix that. And we call her finished. I'll fix it and then I'll put a picture up at the end so y'all can see it. I hope y'all can see it straight. Ain't she pretty? She's pretty. Well, she's pretty. Watch her turn around. Whoop. Watch her. So we went from this to having us a beautiful barn quilt. I hope you had a good time joining me today for this barn quilt. Actually, 2 or 3 days. But I wanted to show you this rain guard. I put rain guard paint sealer on in about a week. Let the paint get time to cure real good before you put it on there. And I put 2 coats. So anyway, thanks for hanging out with me today. I hope you had a good time. I hope you'll join my channel and hit subscribe and ring the bell for notifications. See y'all next time.